Welcome to the perfect place to put a practice podcast. I'm your host, Mike Green from Dr. Demographics, where we help dentists, veterinarians, optometrists, and anyone with a private practice find ideal locations to grow their business and be successful. Whether you're starting fresh or expanding, choosing the right spot can make or break your business and your success. Today, specifically, we're going to talk about one of the hottest regions in the entire country for private practice. That's the Southeast United States, specifically Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back. You might ask why the Southeast. Now, we spotlight a lot of areas in the country, obviously, but today I really feel strongly at this point in 2025 about the Southeast. The Southeast is a gold mine for private practice owners. It's a region of growth, opportunity, and certainly diversity. Populations are booming, economies are thriving, and the demand for healthcare services, specifically dental, veterinary, optometric, is skyrocketing. Specifically Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, they're all seeing an influx of new residents, from retirees to young families, middle-class people, high-income professionals, and they all need your services. Plus, the business climate, and this is really key, the business climate is friendly. Low taxes, few regulatory hurdles you have to jump over, certainly a lot less in other parts than the eastern side of the country. But like everywhere, not every city and town is created equal. So today we're going to break down the top areas in each state. We'll look at the demographics, the competition, cost of living, and growth trends. I'll also share a few tips of what to look for when you're scouting a location, tailoring it to your specific need and how you want to set up your practice. So let's first start with, I love Florida. Let's first start with the Sunshine State. So much to offer. I always call it the land of opportunity. Florida is a juggernaut for private practice. No state income tax, massive and growing population, and a diverse patient base. It's no surprise that it consistently ranks high within the top 5 for new dental practice, new veterinary practice, new optometry practices. Any private practice, if you're smart about it, man, you can do really, really well in Florida. So let's look specifically at 3 areas, and I'll just limit it to 3 in this particular episode, but let's look at Tampa Bay, let's look at Orlando, and then let's look at Naples for something a little bit different. So first up, let's look at Tampa Bay. The metro area, including Tampa, St. Petersburg, Clearwater, it's a demographic dream. Population is around 3.2 million, growing steadily at about 1.5% annually. And if you remember, if you've talked to me in the past, anytime we see anything over 1%, we perk our ears up a little bit. And so this is about 1.5% annually, which is really strong and certainly faster than the national average. So why does that matter? More people, more patients. They're going to need root canals. They're going to need pet checkups. They're going to need new glasses. I always tell people that there's a lot of things you can fix with marketing, but manufacturing people is not one of them. And so the fact that it's growing is a huge, huge deal for your particular practice. Tampa's demographic mix is ideal. You've got a real healthy blend of young families, professionals, and retirees. For dentists, that retiree population is a gold mine. Older adults, they need a lot of restorative work, crowns, implants. Veterinarians, obviously, you're in luck. Tampa's pet ownership rate is way above the national average, with about 60% of households owning a pet. You optometrists out there, an influx of young professionals working in tech and finance in that area means a real steady stream of patients needing eye exams, corrective lenses, and they have kids, right? And so a really good, strong thing to build some reputation in that area. I would classify the competition as moderate in the Tampa area. There's about one dentist per 1,800 residents, slightly better than the national average. That's about the same ratio. Optometrists, you have a little bit better ratio, a little less saturated than the national average on that side. But the key is the location within Tampa. Suburbs like Wesley Chapel, Brandon are all booming with new developments offering really affordable commercial real estate. And as of the recording of this podcast, think like $20 to $30 per square foot for lease rates. These areas are perfect for a new practice, and they're really pretty underserved compared to like downtown areas and other spots of Tampa. Cost of living is a definite factor. Tampa's about 5% above the national average, but it's far cheaper than areas like Miami and Naples. Starting a practice here is pretty manageable. Startup cost for dental practice, to give you an example, is about $300,000 to $500,000, depending on what equipment and what you're focused on. Vets and optometrists, you're looking closer to $200,000 to $400,000 on average. Again, those numbers are really, really broad. So, your specific needs will definitely vary. But one thing in Tampa, you want to look for strip malls that are close to new residential developments. They're cost effective. There's a lot of them, and they put you right where the patients are living. There's also a pretty big telehealth option there in Tampa that's getting really popular. So if you want that to be part of your practice, some of you doctors, medical locations may look at that, offering that in that area. Okay, let's move to Orlando. I always call this like the family-friendly hotspot, or at least it seems to be. When you think Orlando, obviously you're thinking of like theme parks and that kind of stuff, but it's really a powerhouse for private practice. The metro population has about 2.7 million people, and the growth rate is about 2% annually. So it's one of the fastest in the country. And an area like Orlando to have that consistent of an annual growth rate is a real positive number. Demographic typically skews a little bit younger, with the median age about 37, making it ideal for a pediatric practice, a real family-focused veterinary office. Obviously, optometry does really, really good with kids and young adults in this area. The economy in Orlando is really diverse, beyond the tourism. Like, that's always what we think about, but it's really diverse just with the residents that live there. Healthcare, tech, education are all booming in that area. They're attracting professionals who are valuing convenience and have the money to spend, but they want to make sure that who they're going to is going to treat them right, treat them good. So it's a great place for a doctor that's going to be reputation minded and is willing to put a few marketing dollars out into the system. Optometrists, veterinarians, you both do really, really well. These are both pet-friendly areas, and you can really tap into both high middle class and quite affluent pet owners for you veterinarians out there. I'd say competition's kind of a mixed bag depending on where you're at. As a whole, Orlando has more dentists per capita than Tampa, about 1 per 1,600 residents. But certain suburbs like Winter Garden are less saturated, and there are others, of course. Veterinary and optometry markets are a little bit more open, especially near the newer developments that are happening. Commercial lease rates are very reasonable. I would say $18 to $25 per square foot. The startup costs are really aligned there with Tampa, with what we mentioned before. So if you're looking at that area, I would look at the areas that are building family-focused developments. And so all of your marketing, in my opinion, should be focused on that family. So that's flexible hours for parents. Veterinarians, you might even consider a mobile vet service. That's something that I think could go really, really well in this area. Optometrists, there's lots of schools. You can really build the vision screenings and then other things that you can really build that patient base there. All right, let's change drastically and let's talk about Naples for a second. That's an area that I think probably a lot of people are not looking at for some reason, but I think that it really is an area that should be considered, especially if you're interested in that high-end market. There's a population of about 400,000 in the metro area, and it grows pretty steadily at about 1% annually, which is really great. Median age is quite a bit older at 52, and median income is about $94,000, which is obviously way above the national average. Now, don't be scared away by that $94,000. There's certainly a lot of houses that make well above that, but again, when we use those word medians, there's a lot of factors that go into that number. So you want to look at, obviously, it's a haven for retirees, wealthy snowbirds, perfect for specialized practices, high-end vet care, boutique optometry practices, all do extremely well in Naples. Now, here's the catch, though. Here's the thing you've got to be prepared for. Competition's pretty fierce here, and the cost can be pretty high. So Naples has about one dentist to about 1,500 residents, and the commercial real estate can hit about $35 to $50 per square foot. Startup costs are going to be a little bit more. So for dental practice, think north of $600,000 due to what you're going to need to do for aesthetics and to make your office really match what level of luxury that the people are going to be looking for. I would say vets and optometrists face similar pressure, but can probably start closer to $300,000 to $500,000 in that area. Now, differentiation is going to be super important in this area. Dentists, you'll probably need to offer cosmetic procedures, veneers, those kind of things. Veterinarians, I think you could do really well providing holistic pet care, acupuncture, those kind of services that maybe the people aren't used to seeing. Optometrists, stock designer frames, and advanced diagnostics like retinal imagery is something that's probably going to do pretty well. Naples, they're just going to pay more for quality, and so it's all about marketing in this area. If you're going to be here, you can be extremely successful, but you're going to have to put some marketing dollars into play. So that's Florida. I could talk for 3 hours on Florida with different areas, but those are the three I wanted to highlight today. Let's go north just a little bit to Georgia and talk about the peach state. I love peaches, and I love Georgia. Both two wonderful things in my life. Georgia is really really strong, especially for dental practices. If you've heard me talk about Georgia recently, you know that I have been talking about the area north of Atlanta specifically for quite some time. But I want to talk also about Savannah and Columbus area as well, just so that you have an idea of where we're looking at, where the growth is happening. So first, let's talk about Atlanta. It really is the Southeast economic engine. Metro population 6.3 million, growth rate 1.8% annually. Diversity is really strong. It shakes out to about 50% white, 34% black, 12% Hispanic, 6% Asian. Very diverse area. I always tell people that you can find whatever you're looking for in the Atlanta area. If you're looking for a specific ethnicity, you can find that. If you're looking for a specific income range, you can certainly find that. An area that's oversaturated with competition, but you have something to show, you can find that. Atlanta's definitely the place to be when it comes to finding what you want. Suburbs like Alpharetta, Roswell, Marietta, all of those extremely successful. That's where the action is. I would say these areas in general have about an 80 to 120,000 median income, growing fast with young families and professionals. Dentists, you'll find about a 1 to 1,900 competition ratio in that area, which is obviously really positive. And there's areas that are much tighter than that, of course, but in general, I would say that the field's pretty open there for a practice that is willing to spend dollars on marketing. Commercial real estate, really affordable in the suburbs, $15 to $25 per square foot. Startup costs reasonable. I'd say, gosh, in general, $250K to about $450 for a dental practice, $200 to $350 for a vet or optometry practice. Those numbers vary obviously greatly on what you want to do, but I would say in general, that's kind of what you're looking at. Now, Atlanta has a tech boom going on right now, which means that there's going to be a lot of tech savvy patients. And so it's really important that you invest in technology and you market that technology effectively when you're setting up in that area. Okay, let's go to Savannah. We always call this the coastal gem. Savannah is a great place to live. Metro population, 420,000, smaller, but it's strong, growing, really healthy at 1.2% annually. Lots of tourism, port activity, and actually a lot of retirees are looking at this area, choosing not to go to Florida, go that far south, and so the retiree market is really growing in that area. Now, median age is still about 39, median income 68,000, making it an absolute meat and potatoes area. If you want a meat and potatoes practice, this is a great area for you to set up shop. One of the best things, obviously, about Savannah is its affordability. Commercial lease rates, $12 to $20 per square foot. Startup costs generally are lower, certainly lower than Atlanta, by quite a bit. I would say 200 to 400,000 in the dental space, 150 to 300 for the others. Competition's pretty moderate. I would say that it's about one dentist per 2,000 residents, and similar ratios for veterinary optometrists. I think that you could go into the area, be very successful, put some marketing dollars into place, and become really quickly the go-to practice in the area. All right, let's talk about Columbus for a minute. Up-and-coming star, no question. Columbus, hidden gem, I would call it, with a metro population of about 330,000, growing at about 1% annually, which is awesome. Median income, 60,000 or so. Median age, about 36. Very budget-minded people, but great people, make great patients. The presence of Fort Benning obviously derives demand for family-oriented services. Military families, if they can't get services on base, they're certainly going to be looking for dental, veterinary, eye care, those kind of things. Competition's really low here. I would say on average, it's about one dentist per 2,200 residents. Commercial real estate, super cheap, $10 to $18 per square foot. Startup costs are really the lowest in Georgia that we could find, $200 to $350 for dental, $150 to $250 for others. Columbus is a great area, especially if you're wanting to get out of the way a little bit of the craziness of what's happening in some of these other cities. Find a gem somewhere where you can raise your family, somewhere where you have a little room to breathe. It can be really a great opportunity and somewhere that you should really be looking at. Okay, the final section here, we're gonna lump both Carolinas together and talk about them. Man, I would say the Carolinas might be one of the biggest opportunities, specifically North Carolina, I would say. We're going to cover Charlotte and Raleigh in North Carolina, and then Greenville in South Carolina. All of these areas really strong, popular, will do extremely well for you, in my opinion, especially if you're marketing minded. So first, let's talk about Charlotte. Financial powerhouse, metro population, 2.7 million. Get this, 2.1% annual growth rate, one of the fastest in the United States. Median age, 38, median income, 74,000. Young, affluent, perfect for cosmetic dentistry, high-end vet services, trendy optometry practices. This is an area that's invested well into lots of industries, and it's bringing kind of that younger move-up population that they're going to make, close to 100,000 for the next couple of years, but they're going to move up to 150, 200 in a few years. Those are the kind of patients you want to land for your practice, for its legacy building for the future. Suburbs like Huntersville, prime spots, prime locations, growing fast, new families, professionals moving in. Dentist to population ratio is about 1 to about 1,900. Vet and optometry markets are about the same. Lease rates, commercial lease rates, anywhere from about $18 to $28 per square foot. Startup costs, I would say, pretty average, $250 to $450 for dental, $200 to $350 for the rest. Good opportunity. You want to look at Charlotte's corporate culture. Again, the government there has really invested into industry, corporations. They're really building that as a hub for business and industry. And so you should piggyback on that. A lot of these offices and companies are going to offer great benefits, great insurance. And so you should be part of that and take advantage of the growth that's happening in that area. Okay, let's go north. Let's talk about Raleigh. I love Raleigh. Holy moly, I love Raleigh. Raleigh is a place where lots of growth is happening in lots of different parts of Raleigh that you can really be successful in. The metro area has about 1.5 million and just under a 2% growth rate. Median age is a little bit younger at 36, and median income is about $80,000. It's a hot spot for young professionals and families to move right now. Lots of university traffic, tech companies, they're all driving demand for innovative healthcare services. Competition is definitely getting a little tighter. Right now, it's about one dentist per 1,800 residents, but that number is getting tighter. So the time to make a jump is maybe soon for you, specifically in suburbs like Cary and Apex. Both we would consider underserved at the moment, but they're definitely trending in the other direction. Commercial real estate, $15 to $25 per square foot. Startup cost really aligned with Charlotte in general. Very, very tech savvy. Population loves digital. They love those type of services. So again, telehealth, online scheduling, all those things are going to be really important in that area. We would really recommend that you look at wellness programs. Dentists, make sure you offer Invisalign for young professionals. There's lots of opportunity out there for different kind of practices. Okay, let's talk about Greenville. And I know I'm going long here, so just stick with me. Greenville, I would say, is the affordable gem for South Carolina. Definitely a rising star. Metro population's just under 1 million. About 950,000 was the last number that I saw, with about a 1.5% growth rate. Median age is about 39, and income is about 65,000. Very, very affordable. Commercial lease rates about $12 to $20 per square foot. Startup costs very low, $200 to $400 for a dental office, $150 to $300 for the others. Competition is, I think, the lowest that we've talked about today, about one dentist per 2,100 residents. Market is very open for all kinds of private practices. Greenville has a really good mix of retirees, families, and young professionals. And the good thing about it is a lot of people that live there have been there for a long time. And so if you can break into that market, and again, that's not very saturated, you should be able to build a really successful legacy practice for the future. Great area. Love Greenville, and it's often overlooked by Charlotte and Raleigh. They just get way more attention. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of idea of what's happening specifically in Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas. From Tampa's growth, Atlanta's diversity, Greenville's affordability, the Southeast is brimming with opportunity. Each city offers a unique advantage, so you want to do your homework and make sure that it aligns with what you specifically are looking at. If you need help analyzing the demographics, scouting locations, please reach out to us at Dr. Demographics. You can visit our website at drdemographics.com. Lots of great resources, from the podcast to blog posts to my new book that just came out on Amazon, Dental Marketing Mastery. A lot of great ideas on there. With that, thank you so much for being with me today, and we look forward to visiting with you again. And stay tuned on next Monday when we release our next episode of our Marketing Monday special episode that's specifically on marketing. With that, I hope you have a fantastic day. I hope you make tons of money, and you found the perfect place to practice here on our podcast. We'll see you on the next episode.